Hello, everybody. The Final Four is upon us, but not before Mike joins me for one last look at what I consider to be the best weekend of basketball of the entire season. We will revisit the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, as well as all the latest in the Wild Wild West known as the transfer portal. Right now, recording live from somewhere, this is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that One and Done train. Welcome to One and Done. Bienvenidos a todos a One and Done, your fast break of college basketball información. We're powered by the galaxy's greatest website, drroto.com. I'm your sometimes humble host. My name is Jay Heinrich. I'm the conductor of this thing, the conductor of the aforementioned One and Done train at Dr. William Cannon on X. But alas, let's not bury the lead any longer. Let's get right to El Capitan himself, the captain of the One and Done ship. He does the ship. I do the train. Follow him on X at MC Holland 34. The OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, the Sweet 16, Elite 8. Best weekend of the year, in my opinion. What are your thoughts overall? How are you feeling? How you living on DK? What's cooking, my guy?
I mean, yeah, don't forget the crown is going on right now. So I'm sure Darren's fired up about the NIT, fired up about this transfer portal. There's a lot going on, man. But yeah, I've got a little bit of a sweat in the old DK streets for the 4Gamer for the CBI. So that's fun. I'll be on national radio here in a couple of hours with old VSIN, so that'll be a fun spot there. Check that out at 11:15 Central Standard Time. I believe it's channel 158. So yeah, we got a lot going on, man. What a week, man. I love everything that we get to do during this time of the year. We're going to be down in San Antonio, so there's a lot going on, man.
Yeah, if you're going to be down in San Antonio for the Final Four as well, make sure you hit us up. Hit us on at One and Done CBB. You know how to get a hold of us over there on X. At Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets, of course, is Eric the Blue pushing the buttons tonight, getting you those shiny graphics. And then Napesy Hustle, the Hall of Famer himself, hopped into the studio just before we went on air, and he's pounding out all these every single guy that's hopping into the portal, and Mike's got him on. We got another 12. Okay, let's get
ridiculous.
Nape's back there doing the big time work, and we appreciate him for sure. At the Real Napier over on X, the liveliest live chat in all of college basketball. Mike is already on fire. Right there, Michael Peterson. Look at him. It's good, Michael. Always depend on Michael to be right there, right away. Ryan Osterman, Ryan, our guy. Ryan over there, Ryan at BracketBids. Man, we're going to talk about BracketBids a little bit in the not-so-distant future here on this show, but shout out to Ryan and what they do over there. Hey, I got Houston. I got U of H still hanging around in my BracketBids, so we'll see how that goes. Oh, look at Darren. Shout out to Darren. Shout out to our mean green correspondent there. He's got his notifications on. He doesn't miss 1 minute of our college basketball coverage. Darren hopping in super early this evening and showing us some love, and we definitely appreciate that from him. And then right now, 9:20 p.m. live time, live and in the flesh, Darren. Everybody's dropping the fire emojis in the chat. They know we love it. They know we love it for sure. Hey, keep the chat going. See Thuggin. Cam hopping in there too. I think we're going to link up with Cam down there in San Antonio. Y'all let us know if you're going to be down there. We're trying to figure out a plan right now, a spot to go to before we head out to the old games. But, yeah, we'll be in touch. There we go, Ryan. Go Mean Green all day. There we go. Shout out to the Mean Green, who will have a new coach after this tournament. But, hey, you got to roll with the punches. Hang yourself a banner. They did at Texas for a NIT, but let's not go there right now. All right. Sweet 16, Elite 8 reaction here, Mike. Let's start with Thursday and Friday, okay? So Thursday, of course, Texas Tech had that major comeback on Arkansas. Like, that was one where, I I'd turned it off, honestly. I'd walked away thinking, okay, this is sewn up. No. Well, we'll get to more of that later in the weekend for Texas Tech, though. Arizona hung tight with Duke, but just Duke was too much. Florida, speaking of too much, Florida was just too much for Maryland, who is now without a coach themselves. Alabama blows out BYU on Thursday. And then Friday, Mike, Houston, that inbounds play to beat Purdue, right? All up just, I mean, Auburn. I was going to say Auburn, obviously just having their way around that one as well. Tennessee just smothering Kentucky. Michigan State holding off Ole Miss. Mike, what are your thoughts on the Sweet 16? The first couple of days of the best weekend of college basketball, in my opinion. What were your thoughts on the Thursday and Friday games?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a chalky tournament, right? I think obviously from the Thursday slate, the Texas Tech comeback was pretty amazing against Arkansas. I think that was more of Arkansas kind of just – I don't understand why Cal didn't call I don't know. The whole thing is just weird. So that was, I think, probably the best game. Alabama, blowing out BYU. That was fun for DFS purposes. The inbounds play, I've been seeing some stuff like the one shining moment's not going to have as many things to put on there, but just because there haven't been that many big upsets, like that doesn't mean that there's not going to be, there weren't great plays. I mean, that inbounds pass is definitely going to make it. There's been plenty of nice shots that have been made and dunks that have happened. Cohen Carr's dunk was pretty spectacular in the old Elite Eight there. But I think for the most part, man, pretty interesting to see Florida kind of handle business against Maryland. That second half was, it wasn't even a game in that one. And then Tennessee just absolutely smothering Kentucky. They said, nah, we talked about it, Jay. Like, you're not going to beat us three times. That's just a tough spot, though, man.
Listen, these are all games that you could sort of see. I like tournaments like this. I don't need to be just like caught off guard, and I don't need the ball is tipped. I don't need the whole one shining moments. I need good basketball, and we saw a lot of good basketball by some really good teams here. Let's just move on to Saturday and Sunday in these Elite Eight games that just took place here. I mean, Duke. It should not have looked that easy. Like effortless almost, it seemed at times for Duke, blowing Alabama, and then Florida. Speaking of comebacks, Tech on one side of it on a Thursday, and then on the other side of it on a Saturday. Think about that, like being that close to a Final Four that you can taste it. But Florida, obviously Mike's pick to win it all with the wild comeback to beat Texas Tech. And then Auburn, after handling business against Michigan on Friday, decided to just be a little bit too much for Michigan State. And the man that they call Mr. March or Coach March, Tom Izzo, Auburn just took care of business. And then Houston, listen, I want to hear your take on this Houston-Tennessee game too, because I definitely have my thoughts on it. But go ahead. What are your thoughts on the Elite Eight, Mike?
Yeah, we can start with the Houston squad. The one thing that's made Houston completely different this year has been the ability for them to shoot the three. So I love Jamal Shed, but Jamal Shed did not really give them any outside shooting. You replace him with someone like Mila Cizan, and he shoots 40% from three. And so what Houston always does is they play these double bigs. Usually they can't stretch the floor except when you have like a Jarris Walker, who they don't have this year. They really have rim running bigs, and they have shot blockers, right? Guys that just kind of clog up the paint. Juwan Roberts. So I know Juwan Roberts hit a three the other day, but that's not really his game. But the fact that they usually had two guards that could shoot, one guard that was more of a facilitator, and then two bigs, sometimes their offense would get stagnant. But now all three guards shot 40% or better from the air. And now you add them with those two bigs in the paint. Like that creates a lot of problems. And you saw it with Tennessee. It's like Houston was a better version of Tennessee. Tennessee could not have Chaz Lanier play the way that he played. So just too much, man. So this matchup between Houston and Duke is going to be awesome. Florida, man, picking them to win it all, this has kind of been a wild ride. UConn gave them a scare, Tech gave them a scare. I still feel pretty good about it. I do like that they're not playing Houston to get to the championship game. That's, Duke's got to go through that 40 minutes of hell. So, yeah, we're getting the 4 number 1 seeds. I think this is the first time since 2008, I think is what I saw. And chalky, but man, like if you're a fan of college basketball, like this is kind of what you want to see, my friend.
Listen, I say everybody, we all like the upsets, right? Until it comes down to this time of the year, and it's like, no, man. You can say, I hate Duke because it's fun to hate Duke, and it's fun to root against a North Carolina if that's not your squad or whatever it is. Like, but there's just so much good basketball, so many good quality teams on right now. Listen, when I was watching that Houston Tennessee game, I'm sitting there thinking, man, like Houston out Tennessee. And then I got to thinking, no. Houston did what Houston does,
yeah, right.
Which is what Tennessee does, but they do it better than anybody else has done it in recent history at the consistency that they do it. It's such an impressive program and such an impressive thing that team is. And the product that you see, the consistency that you see on the court for Samson and Houston, it's impressive. And yeah, I don't know what that says. Like that, my first thought was like, they were beating Tennessee at their own game. No, that's Houston's game.
Yeah.
That they're just the best in the world at doing and shutting people down. And it was just so impressive to watch. What did Tennessee have at half? 15?
Like 16, I think. Lowest ever in a Elite 8 game.
At halftime? What are we doing here, Mike?
Yeah,
that is such an impressive exertion of will against an opponent to hold them in that level of basketball to 15 points in a half. It's so impressive, and it better make every single team left in this thing shaking in the boots a little bit, Mike, for sure. But yeah, and then again, but Duke is like, Mike, we got some great basketball teams left in this thing. We're going to talk about the Final Four preview, okay? But let's hop into the live chat before we do that. Of course, it's on fire. Darren's saying he wish he just picked a higher seed every time he filled out his bracket. Yeah, well, that's like the meme, right, where it's Paul Skeens getting drafted and what's her name? Just like what's her name?
Livy Dunn.
His girlfriend's name. Livy Dunn, thank you. Where she's all like,
you knew the name, you just wanted me to say it on camera.
What? Are you sure? And where she's all like cheesing, and it's like when the girlfriend just picks all the 1 seeds to make it to the Final Four, right? And she's cheesing because I didn't have any 1 seed, shocking, right? But the thing is like that's the basketball I want to see at this point. It just is. No doubt about it. All right, what do we got? Yeah, pick the picker. Oldest play in the book, Ryan. You're right about it. You are right about it. Ken Palm said the greatest 1 seeds ever. Look, like the difference in net rating. I got it pulled up right here, Mike. The difference in net rating between the top 4 seeds and everybody else.
Yeah, it was.
You've got Duke at 39.62, Houston at 36.49, Florida at 36.06, Auburn at 35.26. That's the top 4 teams, right? That's the top 4 teams. Right?
35 plus, right?
You know what number 2 is? What the next team down is? That's Tennessee. Do you know where they are? 100. No, I'm sorry. That's their over. Yeah, 30. So not below 31. So you go from above a 35, and then the next team is below 31. The difference between the top 4 teams and everybody else is so wide. Nobody should. We talked about this in the preview show for the bracket. I said I felt like this was chalk. It felt like a chalky kind of year.
It's just hard to do it though. Like when you're
There's
making
not a chance
picks.
in hell you will ever catch me putting 4 1 seeds in my Final Four ever. I didn't even put 1. Like I did. It was hard for me to even think about putting 1. And even though I know, like these are the greatest. It's such an amazing collection of 1 seeds. They do play grown man at the park basketball. They exert their will on you, Mike. They exert their will on you. And that's what they do. And they make you like it, and they make you pay for it, and they make you just go for it one after another after another. Hey, good. Darren understands that the Titans should never wear the Houston Oilers jerseys. He gets it. Anybody from Houston will defend that, or around Houston or associates with Houston. Anyways, don't get me going down that one, Darren. You know how to push my buttons, don't you? Can we handicap the one-and-done BracketBids tournament? We'll get to that in a little bit. We're going to get to our BracketBid stuff right before we get to the transfer portal. But, Mike, I want to preview the Final Four. We revisited the weekend that's in the past now. Let's get to the Final Four preview here. That's right. How many times in the history do we have all 4 number 1 seeds, Mike? How many?
2.
1, 2. 2. Second time ever here, and that's the kind of basketball I don't care. This is what I want to see, especially these 4 teams for sure. So, Mike, let's start here with the Florida and Auburn matchup here. Projected for 161 points here in this total, according to Ken Palm's metrics in Florida, is that this is a pick'em game. Like, flip a coin. How you feeling on the day of? We have seen this once before this season. Mike, Florida won on the road at Auburn, 90-81, and all of the guys that you assume would have gotten off in a 90-81 game, they got theirs. You know, Clayton and Condon 17-10 with the double-double there. Clayton almost had a double-double with 9 assists. And then on the other side, Broome, 18-11-6. Kelly had 22. Pettiford, 14 off the bench. I mean, the stars at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas. They will be in San Antonio for this one, Mike. What are your initial thoughts on Florida versus Auburn?
Yeah, I think we see a similar 161, man. Like, I don't know. That's I think we're going to see some fireworks here, man. Both teams can really shoot it. The key is going to be who can defend at their top 10 level from the three-point line. So who can defend the 3 better? So both teams holding opponents under 30% from 3 on the year. In the first meeting, Florida shot 39%. Auburn shot 31%. There's the difference in that first game for me. I also think that, but talking about this, like every matchup that Florida has, if there's a dominant big, I don't mind Florida because they have legitimately 4 guys that they can throw at Janai Broome. Condon, obviously playing in that Texas Tech game was huge. I know Half had a monster game, but if Condon, Half could have gotten in foul trouble if there was no Condon. So just having the amount of bodies to be able to throw at Janai Broome is definitely something that I really like as a guy that picked Florida to win it all, man. I mean, Thomas South in the first game against Auburn had 16-9-3. So he's kind of like the X factor, comes off the bench, man. You get Half and Condon out there, and it's pretty scary with those 3 guards. Can Florida defend without fouling is going to be huge. Can Janai Broome get in there, cause some disruptions with foul trouble? Potentially can these guards, step away from the three-point line, create some contact, rack up some fouls on Florida. I think that's going to be something to kind of watch for. The turnover battle obviously is going to be crucial. And then for Florida, the thing that I worry about is like Todd Pettiford is on like a different planet right now. We were freaking out. I think it was like the second or third game of the year when he went off against Houston. Nobody can stay in front of him in this tournament. He's going absolutely crazy. His minutes are pushing close to 30 now. It's definitely go time. Florida's got these big, strong guards, but man, the speed of Pettiford is it's pretty impressive, Jay. So, yeah, I mean, I still like Florida here. I just think Walter Clayton and his tough shot making ability, Elijah Martin, the guy that's been there before. You have the bodies to throw at Broome. I just think, man, they just have the total package to withstand Auburn for 40 minutes.
Darren asking, are the Gators more athletic than Auburn? Just straight up. Is this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say so because like Broome's not like the. I was talking to Doc on SiriusXM on Saturday. It's like Broome's not the most athletic guy. Like he's not someone that plays above the rim. A lot of these guards, they like to shoot threes, right? Like you don't really catch Florida throwing down crazy jams. Now you'll see. Will Richard, you'll see Martin. They'll throw it down, and then the front court with Half and Condon. Those are some athletes, man. So, I would say a slight edge in athleticism overall on the roster, but yeah, it's going to be tough to weather the Florida storm for 40 minutes, even with the Janai Broome.
Let's go to the other game in this one. Houston and Duke, a slightly different projected total here, I would say. Just a little bit. You go from 161 to 134. And we know why. We get it, right? Houston, defense, grind it out, rock fight, what they want to turn this thing into. So what are your initial thoughts on this one? Duke's a slight favorite again, but you just flip a coin in all these games, man.
Yeah.
I don't really think, honestly, these lines are so close, and there's a reason for that, man. So what are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, are you tired of hearing about Duke's size? They're number one in the country in size. All their players, all their starters are 6'5" and over. Yeah, it's tiring, but it matters. And I think that's the thing. So Duke in the ACC has never really seen anything like Houston. And Houston in the Big 12 has never really seen the size of a Duke, especially in that backcourt. So the thing that I think that both teams are going to be able to get stops, the 3-point margin is going to be huge. Both teams, top 10 in 3-point shooting. So, who can win that battle? And I worry a bit about Houston offensively. Duke can switch everything. And so that makes it tough on your opponent when Flag and Mali watch. You don't lose much. I know Caleb Love kind of exposed him there, was acting like he didn't want his career to end. I went absolutely nuclear in that spot. But it's going to take – they don't really have that type of guy on Houston. I know Cryer is a guy that can get hot. But what I worry about is, when you're switching, can you get it inside for easy buckets? And Houston 282nd in 2-point percentage. And they don't get to the foul line a lot. They were 327th in free throw rate in the country. So, Duke is a team that you have to wear down. Now, can they do that on the defensive end? Probably. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to get some buckets because the size for Duke on defense for Houston, they're not going to be able to get these open three-pointers that they want. And so I would assume that Duke and Shire, they just say, hey, you know what? Let them dump it down in the post and, let Roberts and let these guys try to beat us inside and just take away everything from the outside. Now, who's going to guard Cooper Flag?
Yeah, that was my question.
That seems like a problem. So
it does, but again, Darren asking another great question here in terms of the approach to the game. Houston, do you just really body up Flag and try to make him uncomfortable and push him off of his spot? And I mean, any spot, he has so many spots that he can get to and get his shot off. It's really hard to say, if I take you take one thing away from him, he just goes to the next thing, right? But I mean, is that a way you just got to try to do it? Like you were talking about wearing him down. Has he really had to, in your opinion, has Flag had to put up with that sort of an approach towards him much this season? Do you think Houston is just going to take that, let's throw a body at him and let's physical, use up fouls if they have to? What's your thought on that?
This is and Mike jumping in here talking about Tugler on Flag. I know Tugler, Evan Maya came out today and said that he was the best defensive impact player on the season, right? But he hasn't had to deal with a unicorn that can shoot threes, that can beat him off the bounce. I would love if Tugler shuts down. I mean, he should be drafted in the lottery. Here's the problem with Houston, right? Here's the starting lineup: 6'4", 6'1", 6'3" in the backcourt, and then 6'8" and 6'8" up front. Even though they're Roberts and Francis, that 6'8" feels like 7'2" a lot of the times. The problem is with Cooper Flag at the 4. I don't think Tugler, Francis, or Roberts would be able to handle him for 40 minutes. The guys they bring off the bench, Malik Wilson, you saw this with Arizona. They tried to use Carter Bryant because he's a supreme athlete at the 4, but he just didn't give him anything offensively for Arizona except toward the end, the last 4 minutes of the game. So Terrence Arsenault at 6'6", even that's what makes Duke such a problem, man. Even that seems like Flag is really going to have – they're going to have to pressure double team Flag. But if you double team, you just give Proctor and all these guys wide open three-pointers, man. I think this is the biggest problem Houston's going to face, and it all has to do with Cooper Flag at that 4 spot. They don't really have a Jarris Walker at the 4 that can move around with. That's not Tugler in those guys' games. They want to be in the paint, block shots. Yes, Tugler they can all switch out on the perimeter, but it's different when you have the 6'9" dude that can drive you to the hoop, create foul. Fouls could be an issue in this game for some of these Houston bigs. So I think
Yeah,
flag's going to be the huge difference here.
Is that a part of the strategy? You know, do you use up your fouls, knowing that Duke's going to get to the line anyway? You're probably going to end up using, Duke being in the bonus by the time it's all said and done anyway. Do you have to do that? You play at your pace. Houston tries to dictate the way that the game is played, and they do it so well. Can Duke combat that? They got the athletes to do it for sure. Tugler being the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year being put to the test. I mean, listen, it's not like – okay, so the night in and night out grind of the ACC is obviously – nobody would argue, right, that is the Big 12 or the SEC especially this year, right? But the Big 12 is still a great conference, a very, 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 very good conference. And Cooper Flag is just a unicorn. Like – doesn't really matter who you are. Like, he's a unicorn. You got to just try to, I don't know, get under their skin. I'm sure there'll be a fantastic game plan to watch it. I cannot wait to watch it unravel. We're gonna find a way in. We're gonna be in the Alamo Dome. I feel like we're gonna end up in there, Mike. I feel like if this is too good a basketball not to end up just hopping in. Maybe we'll do like. We were talking in the pre-show. Maybe we'll do like me and Nape did for the 2021 Royal Rumble, or no, 2020 Royal Rumble, and just buy the tickets from the guys right there right before we walked in. Mm-hmm. Let's do it, Mike. We're going to be there. I have a feeling we're going to be at these games, man. Oh, yeah. But good stuff there. Good stuff for sure. Final Four bound. You know what else is Final Four bound? It's BracketBids, because that's where we are in the tournament, right? So we're finally there to the point in the show where we can all say hi to our friend Darren, who I was sort of floating around with Darren towards the bottom there for a little bit, but I have since elevated near the top here because I have Houston as my team that I won in the fantasy auction style draft over at BracketBids.com. 6 breadheads joined Mike and I in the one and done invitational over there at BracketBids.com. Some people even did it on BracketBids app right there on their phones. I got to tell you, it was the first time that I'd really done an auction draft for anything, and I wasn't sure that I was really going to dig it. But the way that it was set up, how you just bid, and then 10 more seconds adds on. 5 more seconds adds. Every time somebody bids, and you're sitting there like, man, do I really want to spend $585 of my $1,000 budget on Auburn? Maybe I do. Let's bid it again.
You say Florida.
Oh yeah, Florida. Is that what did you spend on Florida? Was it 600? Did you break
know.
600? I don't remember. We're gonna have to go back.
I got Ole Miss for free, so that helped me out a lot.
I'm gonna find it here. You paid $559, I believe, for Florida. Yeah, right there, $559. And I can do that. It was that quick. You see, I did that quickly. I went right there to the auction tab, and I could see the entire results right there on BracketBids.com. Super easy site to navigate, super easy app to navigate, and the experience was amazing. We'll definitely be back next year on BracketBids.com and the BracketBids app. We definitely appreciate all the breadheads that joined us over there, including Darren, Forklift Jeremy, Jason B., Corey, our guy, the king of the single entry, Ishmael, Mike's cousin, and then of course, you guys out there, y'all doing big things out there, aren't you, Mike? No, we don't gotta go into it. I know y'all got the big things popping out there in those streets. Y'all doing big things out there. Who else? Who did I leave out? Oh, Cam, of course. Cam is in there as well. So, all the breadheads hanging out with us over at BracketBids. Shout out to Ryan over there at BracketBids, right there in the comments. Our guy Ryan. Shout out Ryan Osterman and everybody at BracketBids.com for partnering with us this year on One and Done. All right, hey, Mike. Did you know that there's a transfer portal? Have you heard of that? Head in your hand. Yep, I feel you. Actually, I don't feel you because you and Nape are every single guy that goes in, you're having to figure this out and figure out where he goes in on this thing and put the stats behind it and everything. It's the transfer portal time, baby. Let's get to some portal entrants here. We're going to hit you with 10 of them, recent notable entrants. We're going to run through these for you on One and Done. Mike, why don't you start us off here?
Yeah, we could do that. So every 5 minutes there's someone entering the portal. I wrote my article last night. We're around a little over 1,200. Sent it in this morning, drroto.com. It was published, I think, at like 8 or 9 a.m. this morning. And it's completely destroyed because we've had just a bunch of new names, a bunch of commitments. So I'm like, I got to write another article tonight to send it back through for tomorrow just for the same thing to happen again, man. So, we'll jump in here, man. I think we'll give 10 commits. We'll start with 5 notable entrants, man. And this was changing all the way up until we actually hit go on the stream tonight. So I had a real tough time not slotting this guy at number 1, Jay. And when it's all said and done, we typically finalize this thing in mid-July to give our final rankings. But Yaxel Lindenborg, the forward at a UAB, 6'9", 240 pounds. You guys know this. If you follow college basketball, you know who this guy is. If you don't follow and you're just checking in and see what the hell's happening in the portal, well, he jumped in and for good reason. Nearly 18 points per game, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, nearly 2 steals and 2 blocks per game while shooting 36% from 3. Why is he not number 1? Maybe I'm crazy. I like Donovan Dent. But when it's all said and done, he might still be number 1. Honestly, I don't even know how he ends back up in the college game. If he does, because he's also testing the NBA draft waters. It's going to take a huge number to get this guy in NIL, especially with all the front loading and everything that's happening because, we got the courts and everything involved with revenue sharing that's about to happen, blah, blah, blah. So, but man, he can name his landing spot and his number in NIL. So I do have him at number 2 here, Jay. There's a familiar name there at number 3. Who you got?
Well, quite possibly the most mismanaged superstar that I don't understand benching the Big East Player of the Year in the biggest moment that your team has all season. But here we are, kind of a shocking end to the St. John's career for R.J. Lewis, Mike. This again, it was almost like, oh, okay, bench, and basically right then I think he'd entered the portal from the bench. At least he did mentally. I think he knew it was over. And that's sort of the writing's on the wall, and we'll talk more about some commitments here in a little bit that make it make sense. But I know, man, from an efficiency standpoint, this is the knock on RJ Lewis, is he's just not the most efficient guy. But again, size, length on both ends, he's a special player. And he's the guy that I was saying in the pre-show meeting, if RJ Lewis finds a way to take the next step, he's already a special player, Mike. It's if you get RJ Lewis in the right scenario with the right talent around him, where he doesn't have to try to shoot however many threes a game, or you know what I mean? If he's already averaging a steal and a half per game, he's busy on defense. If he doesn't have to be that guy, let him be more efficient. Let him do things that benefit his game more. And if he can find himself the right situation, and I don't think he'll be lacking suitors very soon. Already, I'm sure. He's a guy that I hope he makes the right choice. I hope it's a fit thing. I hope he gets paid, but I hope this guy finds a place that he really fits in. Because I mean, is it possible that he dips his toe in the draft waters a little bit, Mike, and sort of sees, it sounds like he's going to at least see, right? Test it out a little bit. But I feel like RJ Lewis will be back in school next year, and I hope it's with a team that fits his talents the most. Next on this one, Mike, somebody leaving a team where their coach just left, and, there's somebody, was it Darren that was saying leaving Maryland for leaving that conference for the other. Anyways, what about Gillespie, man? We talked about him really not being able to hold up to some of these bigger guards in the tournament, but that didn't stop him from having a really nice season.
Yeah, still a great year. Yeah, Kevin Willard and his whole saga, right? What a weird ending to everything Derek Queen tweeting out today. the sad face emoji. But yeah, I mean, one of the Crab 5 members. I didn't think he was going to really have this big of an impact on this team this season. He was definitely an X factor for them. It'll be a long list of suitors. You worry a bit about him defensively, like you said, but he gives you absolutely everything you're looking for in a point guard. I mean, shot 41% from three, nearly 5 assists per game. About a 2.5 to 1, assist to turnover ratio. You actually love that, and almost 2 steals per game. So, quick hands, even though he's, some of those Florida guys got to him with their size. But he's going to be one of the best point guards in college basketball next year.
Oh, he's busy. He's got to be, right? He's quick. Almost 2 steals a game, man. Like, no doubting that he can play a little bit of defense and get into those lanes. But yeah, when you come up against bigger guards, obviously you'll struggle a little bit. But he held his own, a really solid point guard. And like you said, Mike, the line will be long for sure. Keyshawn Hall next on the graphic there, formerly of UCF here. One more season of eligibility for Hall. And I wish I could say, oh, this is one time in the portal. No, second year he's back in the portal. But that's the norm, right? That's sort of these year-to-year deals is sort of what it feels like that so many of these players are going to do, and finding what works best for them when it's available. So I think he's another player that's going to have a long line. He may not finish in the top 20 in the portal when it's all said and done. Maybe he does, but he's one of those guys who are just super versatile on the offensive end. 6'7", 245, yeah. And this isn't just some just a back to the basket guy either at that size, right? He's shooting 35% from deep, 7 boards a game. He'll do it all. So
yep.
I think have you seen that graphic where I think it was for RJ Lewis, where it was like RJ Lewis, let me know who he's heard from, and it's all 363 teams.
Dude, I love those.
Logos
I love
whatever.
those.
I don't know if Keyshawn Hall quite has that many, but I'm sure he's heard from a ton of them.
Yeah, man, I love those graphics. It's like, oh, interested, has heard from. It's like, okay, dude, just let us know when he's down to 4 or 5 schools. Right. Last guy on the graphic here, Silas Demary here, the guard from Georgia, 6'5", 180, 13.5 points per game, 4 boards, 3 assists, a steal and a half, in a tough SEC. With him, you're getting a big physical lead guard, man, and a lot of teams are going to be looking for a player like this. There were times, man, when I would be watching, I'd be like, damn, man, he's like a top 5 guard in this league. Really took his game, to the next level. Can score, can play make. Plus, you love that he can hold his own defensively. He's only going to continue to get better, right? He's going into his junior year. So these comments are blowing up, man. But obviously, we got these 5 guys that had just entered the portal, 5 of the top 12 on our one and done transfer big board here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I did say we were going to have 10 new entrants. Sorry, ladies and gents, it's just 5. But those are 5 pretty solid ones, if I had to say so myself there. And I may be underselling Hall a little bit, that he won't be in the that's a damn good player, man. At his size, somebody's going to get a good one there in Hall. All right, Mike, you called it the live chat, the liveliest live chat in all of college basketball. Isaac, I don't know the statute of limitations for scalping tickets, and maybe I'm just telling tall tales for the show or something. I don't know. Popo is, if they knock on my door, okay, sure. I'm pretty sure I got the stub still from that thing too. By the way, I had kept the evidence. Ryan, you're lost on the portal. It's easy to do, my friend, but get over to drroto.com. And my guy Mike right here, I'll keep you posted with all the updates, all the things that you need to know. drroto.com is the place to be. I mean, it just is. So get over there and do it. What do we got? Snake Size. What's up, Snake Size? Oh, yeah. The whole team entered the portal. That's all right, though. He's got his kid coming with him, so that's a pretty strong start there.
That's a good start.
He'll be okay. And of course, that's the one and done rub right there. Friend of the show, Darren DeVries right there, getting him in when he was over there, Drake. And then all of a sudden, 2 stops later, he's the head coach at Indiana. Probably because he interviewed with us here on One and Done. So go ahead and check that out. Friend of the show, Mark Pope as well. We interviewed him. If Peanut Butter Posse has come out of whatever coma he's in right now after Kentucky. Have we heard from him? I don't know.
Not since
do we need to do a wellness check on Peanut Butter Posse? Let's do it for sure. All right. Hey, everybody's showing us the love. We appreciate that for sure. RJ Lewis did tell Patino, yeah, fuck around and find out. Yep, that's kind of what happened. But again, we're about to hit some of these commitments here, and it kind of makes a little bit of sense. Maybe there were some things, maybe the wheels were already turning, maybe the times they were already a changing. RJ Lewis with Coach Cal, Mike.
Jeez.
Your eyes got real big there, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, Arkansas has some of that money to throw around, man. I like Darren asking portal MVP last year. I have to give it to John Tanji, who I had nowhere near what he should have been ranked, which would have probably been 1 or 2 after the way that he played. So, yeah. AJ Store, yeah. One of the couple of misses I had inside the top 10 last year.
But you weren't the only one. Everybody was very extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? So high on him.
Yeah.
And that was, everybody missed on that one. So no shame for sure. All right. Hey, if you haven't already, hit the like and subscribe buttons. If you're watching over on X, we appreciate you. However, you're taking us in on your viewing devices. We definitely appreciate that. But if you're over there on X, get to YouTube. One and done. WON &DONE right there. You see it on your screen. One and done. College basketball. Type it in. You may have to scroll a little bit, because we haven't quite hit 11 bazillion subscribers yet. So we're not just like the searches aren't up there. But you can find us if you try, because we're live right now. Get over there, hit the like and subscribe button, I should say. Turn on the notification bells like Darren does, like Michael does, so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage. We do this 365. We're going to have portal stuff all off season long. We're going to do coaches interviews. We're going to try to get some players on. We're going to try to, we're doing this all year round. So if you are a hoop head like we are, make sure you hit the buttons and hang around, show us some love. We would love to talk to you all off season and beyond. All right, let's get to some recent commitments here. Mike, is this the one where we have 10, right? We actually have 10 to give people here. I'm not just making that number up out of thin air. Okay, all right. 10 recent commits, and it starts with the guy you mentioned 1 minute ago. Double D, not double J, JEFF, JRRETT, former Intercontinental Champion Jeff Jarrett. No, this is double D, Donovan Dent. And where did he land? I mean, I sort of like, I'm not going to lie, my eyebrows raised a little bit when I saw this one. What are your thoughts on Dent's new landing spot?
Yeah, I mean, he's going back home, so that's cool. But I worry about the fit in this Cronin offense, man. I'd assume because he's a great rim pressuring guard with playmaking ability, and he can also shoot from the outside. Like, you want to maximize what he can do on the floor, so you need to put shooters around him, especially at like the 4 and the 5 spot. I would think you don't go into like 2 paint clogging bigs with this guy. But really good size, man. Like he's shown it all the past 2 years. Like there's not a lot that he can't do. I think I gave him the edge over Yaxel because we do see guards obviously be so impactful, right, in the in March. So for right now, I do have Dent still holding on to that number 1 spot. Not too far behind him at the number 4 spot is Deaton Thomas, who actually just gave a commitment like an hour ago to LSU, and he's a guy that kind of flirted with the portal last year. He had a great freshman year at UNLV, decided to stay there. Another really good season, 15.5 points, 4.5 assists, shot 35% from 3. Had a really good first step. He can score at all 3 levels. He was in the 90th percentile of catch and shoot jumpers. So, you can absolutely, the LSU, Coach McMahon, he needs someone like this to get this program jump started. So, you know what you're going to get with him, which is what I really like, consistency. Like, you look at his consistency, whether it's a mid-major opponent at the beginning of the year or, a conference opponent. Like, he's just giving you 15 and 4.5 every single night, it feels like. So a really good player here, man. You want to go ahead and talk about the Johnnies here getting right after the RJ Lewis news?
Yeah, well, again, this is what sort of makes it feel like that maybe the wheels were already greased, the gears were already turning, because you get Bryce Hopkins right over to the Johnnies there. Obviously, the injury bug the last couple of years, it sounds like he's 100%. Like, taking that year off was super critical for him. And obviously, a very suitable replacement for Lewis here. If you're going to lose a player if you're going to lose a player like RJ Lewis, to have Bryce Hopkins just sort of slide right into those shoes, not too shabby of a pickup for Patino and crew.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, what else do you want? Like, you're getting a really nice big to pair right next to Zuby Ejiofor, who announced that he's returning. So, yeah, this with Sandin and his ability to shoot the ball, man, like we'll talk about here in a little bit. This is all coming together for St. John. So I know their fans are pretty hyped. I'm sure we'll see Johnny K in the comments later on talking about this team. Adrian Woolley, the guard here for Kennesaw State. Yeah, Kennesaw State. Really good player coming out of Kennesaw State here. 6'5", 180. He's committed to Louisville. That just happened a few hours ago. Kid that has a ton of talent. He can do a little bit of everything offensively. Really good size. If you're talking like just the upside, he's probably like a top 5 to 8 type player in the portal this year. I think he's got NBA upside. So yeah, man, this Woolley kid, like Louisville doing its thing. Last year they went with a bunch of veterans. Now they're bringing in, this younger kid with a lot of bounce, and they 42% from three. Like a really, really good player here that Louisville's getting.
Like some of the highest upside in the portal too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, love what they're doing there at Louisville. Owen Freeman next. Right there you see it. No longer of Iowa, now a Creighton Blue Jay is Freeman. 16.5 points, 6.5 boards, almost 2 blocks per game in 19 games this past season. We're not gonna throw the Kalkbrenner comparison out there. We're not doing it. He's not that level. But again, he's trying to fill some big old shoes there, right? But I think offensively he can pick up a lot of that slack too, and he is one of the better and bigger bigs in the portal. So yeah, I mean, a really solid pickup for Creighton there. Again, you have to be really cautious because that's going to be the expectations, right?
Man.
The next big man to come in and you're great. I'm sure he's going to make a bunch of money and he's going to go in there, he's going to do his thing, and then it's like, well, you're not Kalkbrenner, and it's like not many people are, guys. Like, it's not, let's make sure our expectations are reasonable. But with that being said, Freeman is an extremely talented player as well. But Cadeau here, let's go to Elliot Cadeau here. Can we switch the graphics real quick? And pick up how do we do that? Do we need to take a break here before we move on to Cadeau? Should we hit some like and subscribe? Oh, no, we do not. Look at that. My gosh. Is that the fastest button push on this side of the Mississippi River?
I think it is, man. Might be.
Look at those graphics, too. Shout out to Eric the Blue. Let's go to Elliot Cadeau here. Obviously, of North Carolina fame. Now a Michigan Wolverine. Still young because he reclassified, right? Like he feels like he should be older than he is. But no. He's super young still. And that with that age or lack thereof, lack of ball time, lack of experience in general, you get the inconsistencies. And that's what we saw from Elliot Cadeau throughout the year here. Now, again, when UNC made that late push, it didn't feel like he had those jitters. He didn't feel like he had those things taking him away from what he does best. He did play his best down the stretch, obviously, for North Carolina. And that's the guard that Michigan is hoping that they get out of Cadeau. Kind of be interesting to see if Trey Donaldson sticks around here for the bigger picture there. But for the time being, a really nice get for Michigan in Elliot Cadeau, Mike.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting. I mean, I would assume you can't put those two guys together. So we'll see what happens with that news. Might end up on our portal entrance list over the next few shows here. But at number 24, man, Michael Ratai, Oregon State big, 6'9", 220. He commits to Baylor. Baylor's having a nice early transfer portal window here, averaged 17 and 7, shot 35% from three. And that's kind of what they missed was this type of player this past season. Kind of reminds me of like Michael Mayer with the skill set, going to be able to play the four, stretch the floor a little bit. A solid defensive player, and he's oozing with upside, man. So like Michael Ratai here at number 24. Who you got there at number 26? One of CC Hustle's former Sun Devils there, Jay.
CC Hustle, former Sun Devil. In Josen Sanin, Now another Johnny. How about it? Another get for the Johnnies here in the top 30, at least right now, on Mike's big board. Now, what you get here, we talked about a little bit of inconsistencies, maybe a little bit of what's the word that we used for Lewis? Efficient, not efficient, right? Especially from beyond the arc. And St. John's in general was just bad from beyond the arc on the whole. Well, insert Sannon 37% from deep last year for the Sun Devils, about 12 points a game and 3.5 boards. Probably, I mean, at best, NBA upside here, a sharpshooter. Do you think that's what St. John's is going to get here? It feels like a pretty good get for them, and something that they needed that they could have used a couple of weeks ago, honestly, in that shooting. But now they get it in Santon. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, man, just a really, really good player. Like we saw with him, when he was healthy, battled some injury issues here, and a highly touted recruit coming into Arizona State. So, yeah, I think Pitino realizes that you need to have a team that can score beyond the arc consistently in order to make it back to the Final Four here. So yeah, Sannon, really good player here. Number 33 just happened an hour before we came on, or 30 minutes before we came on. That was Oscar Clough, the center from South Dakota State, formerly of Washington State. He commits to Purdue, giving Purdue a really, really good big man. So you kind of knew something was up when Will Berg hopped in the transfer portal. It's kind of interesting, right? That they were kind of developing him, wanted to play him a little bit more early in the year, and then late in the year, got into the game against High Point. Well, no, we're bringing in a guy that just averaged 17.5 and 12 rebounds. So you kind of worry about him clogging the paint. Hey, he shot 60% from three on limited attempts. I think it was 6 attempts that he took. So just obviously put this type of big next to Braden Smith, man. Someone that can get you easy buckets because, Braden's playing 40 minutes a game. So be nice on a couple of possessions to dump it down to him, let him go to work here, man. And then the final guy we have on the graphic before we hop on out of here, Trayson Eaglestaff, number 39 on the big board. And he's the wing from North Dakota. He's 6'6", committed to South Carolina, and he's averaged 19 points per game. A lot of people are going to remember that he dropped 40 on Alabama. He was also efficient in a blowout loss, had 12 points, but on efficient shooting against Colorado State. So his tier A metrics from those two games are out of this world. And this is what Lamont Paris and his crew lacked, any type of production from the wing spot. And I do worry about these type of wings, these wings that come in from the mids, they're not really good defensively and they rely on outside shooting. Well, I mean, I'm willing to gamble here on Eaglestaff and him being able to produce at the SEC level because I've seen him do it against two quality opponents this past year. He's an older, experienced player. And this is something that South Carolina needed. They did not have this type of player. So, yeah, while the floor for somebody like this is a little scary, we talk about, hey, you can average 20 points per game, but then you're Tyson Acuff, you go to Rutgers, and then you don't really play because you're a liability defensively and you can't get to the rim. So I like that they're taking a shot at this because this isn't the type of player that typically pans out when he goes to the Power Four conferences, but they got to strike gold somewhere. And I think this is a good shot to take right here for South Carolina.
Yeah, why not? Eaglestaff, sort of on that same sort of, if you get the upside as you get with Adrian Woolley, if you get the upside from these guys, you're in fantastic shape. Not a bad chance to take at all there for South Carolina on Eaglestaff. Good stuff there. 10 recent commitments there in the portal, and there are more to come, we promise, and we're going to cover them all. We're going to cover the Final Four. We're going to be out there, so make sure that you hit us up on X at One and Done CBB or find me and Mike or Eric or Nate or whoever. Make sure you hit us up and let us know if you're going to be down there in San Antonio. We're working out some details right now, maybe going to get a little bit of a spot to hang beforehand just to hang out and shout out to the, give a shout out to the One and Done crew and little link up. Who knows? We'll try to get it out there though. And no, it's time to go, Darren. Sorry, we can't break down the NIT Final Four, unfortunately. What a great week from Indianapolis that nobody ever. No, I'm just kidding, man. Hey, shout out. Your team's still playing. My team is not. And you got that banner to hang up there. Maybe, Darren, we'll see for Sure. Oh, Darren's got a few good comments here. I did want to shout out to, it must be tough environment-wise to move from Iowa to Nebraska. Yeah, real tough there. You look out your window and you see corn. So, all right, yeah, real tough there. Love it, Darren. Always with the good comments for sure. Hey, we appreciate everybody for hanging out with us tonight. We appreciate you. We appreciate all the people that hopped on for the first time, maybe, and even if you haven't pushed those buttons, come back and see us again. We definitely love to hear from you. Shout out to @FantasyNav in those Twitter streets. Eric the Blue pushing buttons tonight. Go follow him for all the best fantasy information possible in the entire world. I mean, that's what they say. I don't make it up. I just repeat what I hear. It is what it is. Shout out to the Hall of Famer CC Hustle at The Real Napier, doing stuff behind the scenes, punching in and all, helping Mike with that top 8,000 transfer portal board or whatever it's going to end up being for sure. At The Real Napier over there on X. The Omaha airport is in Iowa. I love that fact, Michael, very, very much. You know how Michael could hop in the comment section because he hit the subscribe button. So you do the same thing if you haven't already. Shout out to Michael, Darren, Eric the Blue in there, Snake's Eyes, Ryan Schnabel hopping in a few times. We definitely appreciate him. Ryan Osterman, Snake's Eyes. Who else we got here? Is that it? Mike's Money Picks hopped in there tonight again as well. Shout out to all of you guys for being in there. Of course, Nate popping in. Everybody, all the fire emojis, all the love that you showed us. Mike, we got a Final Four ahead of us. We're going to do a DFS show beforehand, or are we just riding?
Oh, yeah.
Riding through?
Nah, man. We got that Final Four 2-game heat coming. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. So make sure that you hit the old like and subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you catch that Final Four heat. Like Mike said, we know we're bringing the DFS talk for sure for the Final Four, so don't miss it. That man right there on your viewing device is El Capitan himself, the captain of the one and done ship at MC Holland 34 on X, the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, have a good one, man. We'll talk to you soon. Make sure everybody that's watching, take care of yourselves. Tell somebody that you love them. Follow us at One and Done CBB. Push all those buttons. Show us some love. Shout out to everybody in the chat, and shout out to you. My name, JAYHEINRICH. Come again. Peace.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.